يلا وشير سكرين. شير سكرين.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. This is our session on unified accounts management here at ACS Amman. My book and starts to be should be discussion. What we'll do today is we're going to talk about Power School as our source of truth and how we leverage it in order to bring a lot of our information, a lot of our data into information and bring it to useful life. Power School has a lot of great features. It's customizable in a lot of ways. One of the great benefits with Power School is that API connection that you can get out to other information and you can take it and merge it with other systems. So what we'll be showing you today is how we take and we unify our account management. It sounds like it's a feature that's coming out maybe in May from Power School, and maybe it will enhance what we do. But this is a snapshot of what we're doing now. Like anything, no system is permanent and we're continuously improving. So what we'll be doing is showcasing how we've taken Power School in conjunction with a number of other services, including Active Directory and some of the APIs from Google, and taking and combining that data from Power School with a lot of different services in order to really make information useful in our school community. So, with us today is we have spread around the entire room. Look left, right, and happy. We've got Dr. Fedorish, who works with us here at the school. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm the IT consultant working with the ACS. I'm working on the backend for Power School installation, configuration, and backup. Thank you.
Yeah. To my right, on your left, this is Mahmoud Afghan.
I am Mahmoud Afghan. I'm the developer of the ACS Amman for services. I'm working in research since 2015 in networking and cloud services and server management and also development. Yeah.
I'm there. To my left over here on your right is Khalud Hajiri. I think you have an idea of who she is as well. I could just say Khalud. And then Mohammed Hassan. He is working. You want to talk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm working from 16 level. I'm looking for support and
yeah. And so we work together collaboratively, and we're trying to do cool things. I mean, I think that's what the goal of any tech department is to take from the behind the scenes and bring it out front for people to see and interact with. And ultimately, we're trying to make people's lives easier, right? Like if you're trying to make people's lives harder, then I mean, I don't know which department you should work for. I'm not going to go there. So what we're talking about is unified accounts and what the idea behind it is. And I'm talking. I didn't interrupt me at any point. I don't mean to hijack this whole thing. But.
Yeah, the main idea on this is using unified account to use one single set of credentials to access any ACS services, if it's like mobile application or web services, and also if it's a website. So we can provide this for the students and teachers and also parents and admin staff to access any ACS services using username and password or email and password. So we develop very nice dashboards to let users change their passwords, and also from our technology department to create new accounts with bulk operation. We'll talk about this in the upcoming slides.
Really, the thought here is that there's too many passwords in the world.
And when you have too many passwords, then it's easy for those accounts to be compromised. With a single, very strong password, we can better service our users. We can secure our assets and resources a lot better. And it gives ease of use for the end user. When we're authenticating in, and we're going to share how we do that using Google credentials, it's a seamless experience for our users. They're logging into the PowerSchool sites one time, essentially. So when they log in once, they don't have to worry about access. It removes a hoop to jump through to access their data. And ubiquity of access is an important thing. We want to make sure that if they have a question, they can get it answered. And we want to keep it safe, but we're doing that in such a way that it's not getting in their way. So you can see this is a number of the services that we have unified account access to. Number one in our hearts is PowerSchool. It's a key way that we see our students and teachers interacting with on a daily basis. Our parents and community are accessing that service continuously. Another key service is around their Gmail and for email services, for their document management, for all of the Google suite of tools. This is the same password they use for both. Be able to log on to our school Wi-Fi. This is when it's authenticating in with a user account, we can better track which packets are connected to whom, so that we can make sure that we're keeping it safe for everybody. And if it happens to be like, hey, who is doing this, we can find that afterwards. You know, we can help to shape traffic a little bit. We have unified printing access. If students, teachers need to release, they go up to the printer and drop their badge on there. They're able to release their jobs. So this is, you'll notice in this room, where's the printer? The answer is down the hall. So this is probably good. How many of you have like more than 10 printers at your school? Yeah. If you can get rid of printers, I think that's a good thing, right? You know, it's age appropriate for some levels, but yeah. Printing's not totally outdated anymore. To be able to access websites, web applications, we have a bus tracking application so that our parents and community can see when their child will be picked up and let them know that they're safe to drop off. It's an important aspect. All through that unified account. Finally, you know, part of running an international school is that you got to get some money transaction. And so we're not trying to override the presentation in the afternoon. We do have a method in order to assist payments. So, no,
Just two questions.
please.
Do you give parents Gmail accounts?
So we talked with Rami a little while. Yeah, we have thought about this, and the way we're going to do this is we're waiting for this 23.5 release to come to see how that would better suit us. I was, what was my 5%, which I got to, I never got to 100% all these in terms of giving parents email addresses or being able to pay. I know not email addresses, but email accounts. No authentication. Yeah. What we're looking to do, and we're gonna get into this a little bit later, is leverage Google as an IDP. Within Google, as an IDP, you can have parents, their regular email address, whatever, at AOL.com, maybe. And use that as a third party. Yeah.
When Google site, they connect with the Active Directory. So the user uses the Active Directory already. So we are working on this.
And this is something that is essential for us to have. And so, and this is an area that we're growing. We do have this fully implemented for students, for teachers, for admin, and the parents of the next stage. And we've gone on a call with Rami to refine our thinking, and we appreciate the methodology that you're using. We're looking at it through a different lens and seeing how we can leverage Active Directory without having to issue and maintain Gmail accounts for parents, which I don't know if it's stopped. Yeah, it's not pushing now. I'm okay. I think I'm going to call it back too, just to be like, hey, is this manageable? And he said like the first 3 weeks is kind of a little, but it gets better after. So we're looking to see how they can use their own email address.
Yeah, definitely.
and tie it to your information. So that's useful when you can verify that a parent did receive the report by email and
Yeah.
exactly what happened to that report.
Yeah, exactly.
There's plenty of pluses and there's possible. Yeah.
Okay, and one other question, I hope, sure. Is Final Site your school website?
Final Site is our school website for the next. Yeah. The whole lesson we're on the final campaign, out in January 24th. So we've signed with Interactive Schools, okay, for that. Not that any one of them is better than another, but opinion, can I give you? Final Site, I don't have many enemies in the tech world, but 5-year contracts are not my favorite thing.
Okay. Now, then use verified account in school. Everyone in school should have a unified account. Students, as we say, teachers, admin staff, and all together. Okay, this one implemented. Done. You're working, directly working on this.
Question.
Yes.
What if the user is a teacher and also a parent?
Also,
Do they have the same?
you can use the same privilege.
Yeah, it's a small group, so it's not that's what we're talking about. All back here. So
You have Google there too.
so
Oh,
so yeah, I think
Next slide.
we'll get into this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we let the slide. I have to give you the answer. Because we're not dodging the question.
Yeah, we will showcase how we successfully integrated between the Open ID Connect for school service with Google single sign. Okay, and we are putting the data using the service called Power Query. We'll talk about this in upcoming slides. And also we have many applications using Power Query data to use.
So you don't use the built-in Google and OIDC?
It's the plugin.
Oh,
We
it-
have a way to build that using Power Query. In this slide, yeah. I'll show you.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
It isn't so it's not the one that our school makes available in general, you do your own thing.
It's the same, but we have like a backend services, all the data, because it's like integration. You need to make data between Google
Yep,
and the Power School Power Query. Yeah,
okay.
And with pushing data back up to Power School, you can get data out of Power School very easily. And we found that if we pull it out, we can manipulate it and access it and change it and make it what we need it to be. And then use the Google services to be able to authenticate into it. So have all the cool stuff from Power School, still using Power School as a fundamental source of truth, and not merging data necessarily back into it. We want to keep it pure and true and all those good things. So we don't want our data to necessarily override our source of truth.
just read the data.
Yeah.
Read the data. Yeah. As you see here, we have another application called the Open Apply. We're really open data. We can have it in our database. This is the ACS database. We're doing all data from all platforms. Put it here. Use the back-end services written by Node.js. We did this to merge these data together and make it like a readable data to use it in PowerSchool and Google and any other services. We have many services use the Power Query data and Google data like the accounts dashboard. We'll talk about this one. The application, data gateway, as we say, the websites, printing, application, mobile, and web application. So we have three main backend services. Power Query API. We call it Power Query API. It's talking with Power School to get the data and set it in ACS database. And the second one is the Google API. We are using the directory API from Google to pull data and also save it in the ACS database. And we have the third service, do the data merge between them to make it readable, and you can export it and re-upload it to Power School to apply the Open ID Connect configuration. I'll show you. You want to add something, Mr. Swanson?
It's the most graphic, right? Like,
We do Google Drawings.
yeah. So super advanced. So if you want, we'll pause if you want to take some.
Yeah.
Share the slideshow or in?
I imagine we will, yeah. Okay. You like to talk about this.
I like to talk, that's my problem. So, you can see that we have a variety of platforms. We are self-hosted, for our Power School. We self-host and we're on AWS. And, what we're seeing in, current security, really recommendations is that on-site, on-prem hosting is a lot less secure, it's a lot less reliable as opposed to moving it up to a service provider that does the maintenance on servers, ubiquitous access, cut down on the number of ports that you have to have open, just security that's involved with it. We feel that our service, we can work on it anywhere in the world, very easy to access. So we're hosted out of the East 2 regions. Ohio sounds really boring in the US, so we thought we'd put it there in terms of our server location. So plenty of security there. And so with that service, I jumped over here. Is our platform? Yeah, so 3. Yeah, I like that one. Maybe the number 1 in my heart is number 3. Right? Number 1 in our heart is over here. Power School student information system. Power School and AWS, those are closely related. So Power School is running on AWS. A lot of our other services are running on AWS, so it makes it easy to connect those services when we are all on that same platform. The Google API, we've been a Google school since, what did I say, 2008, maybe 2011, a long time. So we're long established, maybe 11, yeah, 2011.
It's written by Google, yeah.
Yeah. And with the Google API related to Power School, you saw in the diagram how that data, those all merge together so that we can do this. So I think all these services that we've outlined here, really, in addition, this is the only other one. These two, we didn't talk about how we leverage Active Directory within our centralized database to be able to kind of wrangle that data. Yeah, user database.
For users to make authentication, for printing, and the Wi-Fi access. Google Workspace, like providing our collaboration tools from Google side, and the Fireplace, it's like a backing cloud. We are using real-time database, and we're using the notification system for mobile application. And here we need to use the OTP, one-time password, so they will change to reset their password.
And Firebase is owned by Google, just like,
Yeah.
yeah. So not that that makes a huge difference, but.
Okay. In the beginning, we need to show you the slides, upcoming slides, and how to configure OIDC to your powerful server. Just multiple steps. We talked about the OIDC. We use one single set of credentials to access into Power School, and the using the who provides the service is called certified identity provider, so like Google and Microsoft. Here we in ACS we're using the Gmail account for invitation.
And we selected that over like Okta or any of these other IDPs because we are so ingrained in that service. Our students, our teachers, we all know their Google authentication. We thought that it was a great leverage point, and in order to move forward with that one, as opposed to a really third-party service.
Which will be certified from Power School. Okay, here you need to go to your admin panel, your Power School, and you need to go to system settings, plugin management configuration, and there you need to enable Power School SIS as ID service provider. This is the built-in one. Yeah, and make it enable. It look like this. Make it enable here. Now it's enabled. And the second important thing, when you have Google Workspace, so you need to go to console.google.com. They call it GCP console, Google Cloud Platform Console. So in there, you need to enable the consent information page, just enable it. And in there, you need to create a credential to give Power School access to use a Google data and to Google data from there for authentication. And it will ask you to put a redirect URI to apply the SSO configuration. So you need to put your domain here and keep this part as it is. And it should be HTTPS with the certificate. And you need to put your Power School domain name here and apply. And this data will provide you with the client ID and client secret.
So if you've worked with Google Cloud Platform, this is the standard kind of procedure for any application or interface that you develop, is that you need to be able to get those two pieces of information. So this is it's a fairly standard process if you've done these before. If you haven't done it before, we cut it into 5 steps, so it's not.
Enable the consent screen.
Yeah.
And the second thing is to create the authentication scope of 2 credentials. To give you a small JSON file format. You can find the ID and the secret in there. So instead, and also about we provide a good documentation on this one. You will find it very straightforward. After you enable the plugin, you will see this new tab pop up under the system. Open it. So this one for the Google, and the Microsoft, we change it to Microsoft one. It's the ID, the identity provider URL, with the user ID here and the user secret here, password secret. For the scopes, they are using the mail as the global ID for authentication, and under the authentication ID also what the email, and here you can enable the IDC for staff users, teachers, parent users, student users. Okay.
One question that comes up
Yes.
when about this, that I get sometimes is, can we just enable single sign-on for some users, not others, within a role? And the answer with PowerSchool unfortunately is no. You can no longer have a local account for anybody in that role. It's going to all have to be Google. So like if you have third-party vendors who are logging into your system, provide support, or you have some like generic accounts that you use for other reasons, they're all going to have to authenticate to Google. It is possible in Google to open it up so that it doesn't have to be your domain. Roger knows more about that. He's done the whole process. So you could have a vendor with a generic Gmail account who can still log into your system. Yes.
We will provide 2 types of the consent screen. So we can take both internal and external. Internal, that means you can use emails inside your email. Like our domain is at ACS Amman. If you make it external, and can use that because you make it external, you publish it. Okay. In our example, we will use this one to let the parents access those. Yeah.
Through their personal Gmail account.
Yes.
Okay.
Email. And with this today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
with
if they
this-
don't have a Gmail account, they have to create one.
What we're looking at is that they wouldn't necessarily have to create a Gmail account. It would be independent of the @ sign, it'd be at AOL, at whatever they have, the US Department of whatever. We're doing this in order for them to not have another account that we have to look up and help them reset passwords to service their account in a lot of ways. And we're looking to see if we can do that through Active Directory, where you're using that as a source of those parent email addresses drawn from PowerSchool down to Active Directory. Allow that to go through Google for authentication and into the OIDC that way, the IDP. We heard the idea from Dubai around creating parent accounts, pluses and minuses. We are thinking that if they have access to their own, that will
This is out the third party today, and this is from the Gmail account. It was working fine.
For sure.
A month ago, this is the account.
And we certainly could go that way. I mean, but our thinking at this point is around keeping it within their own accounts, just so that they don't have to remember another set of credentials if they forget. And do your users ever forget their PowerSchool password ever?
Issues with kids changing their email
Mm.
with that system, so if it changes their kind of email that they need to use.
And we have a process to address that, and we see email changes minor. It's not like they're not changing them every day, but every other day or so.
When they do.
Well, we're hoping to be able to service that with the workflow, that we'd be able to change it in PowerSchool to drop down to our Active Directory piece via our Power Query API, down to our user data or our knowledge base or our ACS database, be able to make those changes in Active Directory, push it back up through Google and have them identified through their account there. So it would show with the Google authentication, but they're using a different domain email address. So it'd be log into Google using AOL. That's
So using the phone passwords, the phone passwords will use the passwords in maybe.
So there would be a password change interface where we, at the start of the year, yeah, or, it would be when they come into the school. They join the school, they set their password. If they need to reset it, it'd be the same procedure and process that we use for our teacher accounts, that they would get an OTP, a one-time passcode, through a separate device, just to confirm that they are who they say they are. And we would use a phone number for them to be able to input their phone number. With Firebase as a distributor for the OTPs, it's irrelevant of your region, so they can receive it on a US number or wherever they may be in from.
In PowerSchool for IBC configuration and documentation, you will find the one previous way in the lab to export the data from PowerSchool as CSV file, and you need to fill the global ID to put the email ID one by one. You need to do VLOOKUP on the Excel sheet to do this. And we use another way to do this. Okay, we'll start now the exporting. We'll now talk about the importing. It's very straightforward. Okay, we'll do the import, the export from our system. After we will do that from our view, we'll export the system and re-import it here. We'll import this file. So you need to go to the page and data management, that import manager, just import it as CSV. Okay.
And the point of this is, again, to have that same key, is that we have our account on our side, and PowerSchool recognizes that when we are sending that authentication request, that it's using that email address. So this is to set the email address same, so that we can get into the account that we need to get into.
Yeah. So in this slide, we'll talk about, about the Power Query. It's like a select statement. You need to write like a normal SQL select statement to pull data from PowerSchool. To do this, you can test the select statement using the SQL developer. So you can work on the same server or different server. Okay, and for the configuration, you need to put the SQL code you are using and the username, password, and the domain name, and you will have full access on the database. And in there, that is like a small workbench. So you can use it to test the SQL statement and see what's the table names there. After you have the right SQL statement, so you can start building the XML plugin. There is a format. I'll show you how it looks like. This is the table name. This is the field. It's SQL format, and this is the SQL query that you tested out on the SQL developer. After that, you need to zip it using the zip format and upload it to the plugin and in PowerSchool.
Vance will be teaching a class on Power Queries. Later.
Yeah. This is just a short brief about it. It's like XML plugin, and you can use the REST client API using your any programming language to call it and start the big data and save it. We are using it as Node.js backend service. And this is the backend service code using Node.js to contact this plugin. Okay, very straightforward. This one with the authentication. It asks you to plug the ID and the secret. You can get it from PowerSchool plugin. When you put on the plugin, you just upload it. It will give you the ID and the secret. It will set in the database, get from database, and the data. Then,
This query is for getting data from
PowerSchool.
PowerSchool.
Yes.
So there's a number of fields that are pulling off of PowerSchool in order to better enable our services. So a couple of slides ago, we showed on there, like, does the student ride the bus? And that's just an example of one of the fields. Of course, we're pulling across the name and the email address and all of those fundamental features. But for some of our services, we need more fields than others. And we pull the whole heap of data into our interface so that we can leverage it to go to our other applications and other services. So with it being an API, a Power Query connection, it allows us to have up-to-date information. If Kaluda's changed that information on PowerSchool, it's instantaneous. Yeah, I won't say instantaneous, but it's pretty quick to get down to us, and then goes out to our other.
Here it is, yeah. We have interval time, 25 seconds. 3 days every.
So not instantaneous.
Okay. Post school data collection. Okay, as we say, we learned that using the Power Query for the unified account management, we need student first name and the last name and the user ID and the DSC ID as a global identifier. This after you export it will be empty. Okay, and you need to collect the Gmail account under the global identifier. And here you need to select the SSO user tag. If it's there, student, teacher, and normal user. Okay, we will go with this data and to merge it with Google data. In the coming slides, we'll talk about the Google APIs, especially the directory APIs from the data manager to merge it with PowerSchool data. Okay. Google APIs.
So the API is the application programming interface. It allows you to interact with data within your Google account, within your Google domain. All of these services are well documented for sure. And I would dare to say powerful. It allows you to do a lot of cool things. And when you look through the documentation, even looking through the documentation, you start to get ideas. You look at it and you're like, oh, we could, oh, we should. And then you get to the point where we did. So I think if you look at some of these, those are just some examples. The one that's leveraged the most is the directory API. That's for doing a lot of our accounts management. Our Sheets API, we have a data dashboard through its Google Data Studio, and Kulud and Mahmoud and I, we put that together in order for us to have relevant information. We pull data and we shape it into information to make decisions. And a lot of organizations say that they're data driven, and I like to think that we're like real time, well, within 5 seconds. 5 seconds, data driven in that way. So it helps us to shape decision making. So our data dashboard is available to our board and leadership team for them to make decisions, and we're looking to see how we can leverage that for our teachers as well, using a Sheets API to be able to digest and bring data into our data studio. Classroom API, what this allows us to do is take information from PowerSchool, and you can push that into Google Classroom. We use Google Classroom for our students in grades 4 through 12 in order for them to manage their learning experience, their learning management system. Within YouTube, the API for YouTube.
Yeah, there's a YouTube API, so you can download the videos, you can upload the videos, you can like put the caption on the videos, many. There's 100 of Google APIs. There's Google APIs, there's many things.
Oh,
Yeah,
you guys talk about the maps one, right?
Yeah. And also we're using the maps APIs for our bus system.
The quick on this is that we got GPS coordinates that are in PowerSchool. We take those down, we feed it through the Maps API. We're able to give an estimated time of arrival for the bus. The bus has got it's taking and transmitting out its GPS coordinates. And I won't say real time, but something like 5 seconds. And we're able to tell parents, we could tell them, like, here's a map of where your kid is. You could see how that might be a problem. Why they take a left turn. But we tell them, hey, 5 minutes, get a ping, you better get your kid out there because you're gonna miss the bus. And so it also gives them assurance that when they arrive to school, it gives them assurance when they've arrived home. And there's attendance and time marking for us to be able to say, yeah, they did get on the bus, or hey, they're in 12th grade, they're over getting shawarma. They didn't get on the bus, right? So it's an accountability and peace of mind piece. And PowerSchool is the key fundamental piece, is that we know the person, we know the place from that foundational source of truth.
Which bus application are you?
The ACS bus application,
Homegrown.
homegrown.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can do this yourself. You could, you know, any problem can be solved on your own. Like you can rely on those vendors to make something for you. But, you know, they want to charge you money and stuff. I mean, you know, and they won't be flexible to change it. Like, if you can service it yourself and you can make it better yourself, then yeah. He works here, by the way. He's our guy.
Yeah. And this is the backend service for the Google APIs. We're also using Node.js. Yeah, so you can do both these scopes here, like, you know, we're using the spreadsheets and also the authentication of the spreadsheets and also the data-only permissions. To get permission for application, using the Google APIs. And okay, we talked about PowerSchool data collection. Now the Google data collection. The Google data collection, we need to get the email address and the first name and the last name and the user ID. And the other third service will start matching using the user ID that goes from Google API and the second one from PowerSchool API to match it and put the email address with the same table to do the match. Okay, after do the match, we need to export the data to re-upload it to the PowerSchool site. It's under this table. We put all the data we need, small data that we need here, so you can export it as CSV Excel copy. This is like reporting, and also to generate a CSV file to re-upload it to PowerSchool site to enable the IDC. Here under you can see this. You can do it by grade level for admin only, staff only, anything you do. And also you can do search and export the file and upload to PowerSchool.
So the cool thing about this is because we're able to leverage it by individual groups, this is from Active Directory, we're able to identify which group that we're wanting to interact with and what data we want to interact with. We can quickly access that data and move that up to PowerSchool efficiently. Like it's copying that data, or the CSV is very quick. The service was created such that when you hit that CSV and then importing PowerSchool, that process takes, I mean, it took longer for us to talk about it than it does to actually do the process, you know, which is a good thing. I don't know, or maybe it's not, I don't know.
Okay, now we talked about that diagram and how we got data and about the PowerSchool, and now we have IDC configured the digital. Once you open the /teachers, it will redirect you to the Google page. You need to put your Gmail credentials and to redirect you to the PowerSchool. And okay, in the upcoming slide, we'll talk about the ACS accounts dashboard. We have our own dashboard to manage users' accounts, Google accounts, to create accounts, to delete accounts, update accounts, and also to send notifications and everything. We call it ACS accounts dashboard. We have two types of the accounts dashboard. We have the live one for technical support. So I'll show you the it's this one. This is the main dashboard showing the total Gmail accounts, total OUs, total students, and the division students, and also the Active Directory students and the Active Directory OUs and the Active Directory legacy group. In the second tab, they can export reports that comes from PowerSchool students, usernames, email addresses per level, grade level. And here the late account, they can track the student who changed the password. They will not change the password yet, so we can put that and send email again to the student or to let him change his password. And also we have a small report system, also the same like Google data and PowerSchool data here, and here only the PowerSchool data. This is the first one. The second one is the full version. The full version.
So going back to the other one, I mean, what we can do with that is that when we're able to export reports out of PowerSchool via this platform, it allows us to take a lot more fields, and we can merge data from a number of services. You saw that we had Active Directory. We were able to take a look at what we have for Radius for the Wi-Fi authentication. This is not necessarily data that we want to put into PowerSchool. Like, we want to keep as much data as possible in PowerSchool. But creating custom fields for like radius access is not something that we would be able to take action on. If we keep that outside, then we're keeping that as the main service as well. What we can do from the full accounts management dashboard is that it allows us to create accounts. And when we say create an account, it's where we're taking in, there's data that's in PowerSchool. It comes down to our service, and they don't necessarily have a password associated. It's allowing them access. They would have had on PowerSchool their identifier, their key, their email address put in there, which would allow them access, but they don't necessarily have a password that's assigned. So when we create this an account from here, it's doing a couple things. It's creating an account on Active Directory for them to be able to access printing buses, all the other services that we offer. It also is taking and moving that account from Active Directory, and then it also pushes it up to Google Workspace. So we don't need to create an account on PowerSchool. We don't need to then create an account on Active Directory. And then we also we have to create an account in one place. We don't have to create it on PowerSchool and on Google, one spot. And what happens when you create an account in one spot? Less human error. There's less accidents in typing. There's fewer passwords. It's life is good time, right? So there's a little work up front, but then life is good. So we're all for that. And then finally, we're able to export these reports and keep our accounts up to date. So yes.
So I have a question with regards to like teacher accounts. At ASD, when a teacher or a new person is hired for the upcoming school year, we create their account right away so that we can communicate with them, HR and all of, everything preparing for that job. But I don't necessarily want that person to be able to log into PowerSchool right away.
Right.
Because there's still maybe 5 or 6 or 8 months out from coming to our school, and there's no reason for them to have access to it.
Right.
How do you manage that?
So, okay, when you want to come to school, so maybe people can do the email for him using the account dashboard, okay, and we will push it to Active Directory and Gmail, okay, and she can do like we need to explore the file and re-upload it to PowerSchool. Maybe after 8 months, 9 months, you can do this. You will have account and she do this.
The PowerSchool account doesn't exist.
So it could exist, but we would leave the OIDC field and
Yeah,
the key
the global
within the field.
identifier, it's not there.
It's not filled, so that it limits their access to the.
Their access to the art teacher until the year begins or just before it's going. So
So there is still mechanisms up there with regards to.
Just upload the file.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to disable it maybe because you need to fill the global identifier under the account, access security account.
Yeah.
If it's not filled, you can't access.
What about the teachers? If the account gets created right away, and are they active or no?
No.
They're not. They
They're not.
make it inactive.
Yeah, it's just like that's what I'm at. They're not active until they have process registered, and then when we
So you activate, fill in the OIDC.
when the principal wants them active,
Yeah.
they can like over.
And you can do it one by one, like when we're
Yeah.
sending an upload file, I mean, you can do like, yeah, we want this person, and then the rest of them making it.
The other good thing in our ACS account dashboard is after you export the file, okay, it will mark these accounts as entered to PowerSchool. Like, so if you can export another report, the user is not flagged yet, so she can get the new features or use cases. Okay. Is that here? Yeah. Thanks. This is the full version of accounts dashboard. 9 tabs. The same interface here showing the data, the total audios, and the Gmail and Active Directory users. And here's another one for students. They change their passwords, admins and teachers. You can know the exact number here. Yeah. Okay. On this page, we can create a new account using this form one by one. First of all, we enter the email address here and check account. Okay, if it exists, it will message up here. No, you can do this because this already existed. If not, it will open or redirect you to another page to fill the account information and save. In this page, it will create the account on the Gmail site and the active dates. And also you can specify the OU to put them in the right OU. And also here you can do the bulk operation like to create, this is the green one. So it will create the, okay, you can upload the Excel sheet here, and it will create the account on the Gmail and the active site. And if you need just to upload the data or to create accounts on active site, you can upload it. It's a fine.
And there's a standard template for doing this CSV work essentially, where you can have those standard fields like they're listed in the form below, but just in a manipulating data one by one or in bulk, right? So this is gives some flexibility to create a bunch of accounts in August, or those triple kids that come in and I don't know, December 13th they arrive for their first day of school. You can do that one by one this way.
Do you create OUs in AD and also one is what is the same AD?
On the, not from the AD or Gmail, we do it from here. Our next slide, maybe. Okay. From here, so you can click here, add a new organization unit. After you add it, it will push it to active directory and the Gmails. And on this one, get data from Gmail, so you can put the Google directory API configuration in the system, and using this method, it will send the data from Gmail to ACS database, accounts database. If you need to connect with any Gmail or directory API to get the data from specific Gmails.
And the bigger thought here is that when you have multiple databases and they're out of sync, it gets to be a mess over time. So this is one of those ideas you've heard this phrase like garbage in, garbage out. If you have garbage data to start with, you're going to continue to have that, and your outputs are going to be messed up in a variety of ways. The benefit of having a centralized system is that they're all the same. Is if you are putting in an OU here, it's good on AD, it goes up to Google. It just keeps your data structured so nicely so that when you have to apply certain policies, you know that it's the right people. It's not exceptions because you've done it in one way.
There's multiple ways, yeah. There's multiple ways to create account on active directory only, or on both sides, or to pull data from the kernel. Yeah, from Gmail side.
So passwords are managed. This is very managed password. Here, in this
The Google and the active
And that directory. So it's one password.
Yeah. This is the OU, so you can create OUs here and push it to active directory and the Gmail side here. After we pull data from Gmail, sometimes we need to push it to active directory. It will organize it as you see here by OU. This is the OU and this is the total users. So you can view and you can create. When you click on the create, you will redirect to another page and you need to push this 4 user, let's say, or 9 user to active directory. The system will check if this 4 user with the same hierarchy available in active directory. If not, the system will create it and push 9 accounts direct. If it's already created and existed, it will just push the accounts. Okay, and also we have another pattern here, so you can create 4 accounts with the same hierarchy with 4 use to that directory side. Done? Okay. Okay, and if you need to search for any email in active directory or Gmail site, you can do it here. Just type the name and to find it, you will see this name, email, account ID, the creation date, and OU. And also we have this service under the account dashboard. It's like immersive. If we have a new student or a new teacher, we'll create account and go here and we can choose the as recipients here. or you can send to a specific user or group of users, group of students by grade level, and send the pre-built template to let him know about his default password and the instructions how to change the password in the self-service password management. And also we can use it to send mass password management, mass password change to force all users to share their password.
We haven't done that.
Add something. Just in case. Yeah. Okay.
Something else that faced with, I think, grade 6.
We could, if there's a particular breach on a grade level, we could ask that grade level change the password, or, you know, if we're feeling lonely, we want to have a line of people out. You know, if it's a Thursday afternoon, it's like 3 o'clock, or like.
Self-service password management. We're also providing a self-service password management that user to change their password and also persist their password, as we say, using the OTP password. And also they can update information. For now, we need to let them update their mobile numbers just to receive the OTP service. This is the main page, and the user should enter his username and the unified account password, login. And we also can forget password there. Okay, it's simple, secure, and that's straightforward. But password, change it, and you can also here update his number. Okay, this is to change the password. To set the password, so click on the forward password. You should enter his email on the board, reset password, and you receive his phone OTP password. Put it here and the code, and still will redirect them to the previous slide on this one. Okay, and we have only 2 minutes to change the password. After 2 minutes, because you can have access on this one. Mr. Swanson, do you want to add anything else?
You know, like the benefit of the service here is that user accounts, when they're asking for help to get into their account, we want to keep it as transparent as possible, that we're not giving them kind of it's all within the system, it's all contained on their side, so that we're not perceived as being able to have access to their account. So this is a safeguarding aspect and making sure that we have security, whatever we do, put security forefront. That's a good way to keep everything secure.
Yeah. So our board query apps, we use board query data in the process system. Mr. Swanson said the name, parents' email, what was geolocations, managing the street, the building, the location, the address, everything from board school. And also we have the image studio application. So with this application, we both the data from our school with the links, with everything, put it in the database, and we can do like some image resizing. What else we can do with this?
Essentially, what the service is for is, you know, how the student photo is maybe the most access piece on Fire School sometimes by teachers, is they want to make sure that they see the face of the person. And keeping that photo up to date, same with the service is important. We want to make sure that we have, the school photographer comes in and snaps 800 pictures. Managing that data is kind of a challenge. So what has been happening is it's been created into a studio. We can resize the image to the exact dimensions that we need for Power School. I think that number is 800 by 400. Is that what it is? No. Okay. So we don't have to remember that anymore because we hit the button and it exports all of our images. We're able to take it up to Power School in no time. All sorts of services they want to be able to do the kids. So like
You import them.
import.
Okay. Right, directly to that folder on.
No. So we're importing those as purposeful, and it's usually one time except for photo retakes, you know, so it's 1 2 3 at that point. Yeah. So yeah, the image studio, there's all sorts of instances where like your book needs to have images in a certain dimension. Instead of relying on an outside photographer and being like, hey, so can you also do a folder with this size? We just have a certain thing. So we can, again, we're big on if we can do it ourselves, we want to do it ourselves. You know, we ask our kids to become makers and thinkers and all that. We like to do that too.
Okay, and also for the payment gateway, we will send data like student information, which you can change and they want. Okay, we have a payment gateway, and we need to pay a portion or for or something. And it's the easy way to let the parents find this a in this portal.
So when it comes to payments, we need to have a unified ID. We take that student ID number out of our school and we make sure that we're tying it to the right account. You can't mess up payments, right? You can mess up some things as long as it's normally gives it to you. When we get some payments, like people don't want to mess with that. So we make sure that we tie the Power School data with a payment system so that we know for sure that we've given the right receipt to the right person. Like it's for sure, like almost for sure. There's always room for human error, but we're a lot less likely.
And the last one is Google. The old name was Google Data Studio. Google many data, big data from what we use to Google.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the cool thing with this, have y'all messed with Looker? No, the cool thing with this is that it leverages the same engine as like the Google search. So like, you know how Google, it takes less than 5 seconds to get a search engine result, right? Like this leverages that same engine to be able to process your data. So it's snappy. You can throw a lot of data at it and change that data into something useful information, right? So we leverage it with data from Power School in order to make this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please, if you have any question.
So basically, you guys built your own password self-service plan, like by leveraging the APIs and Firebase.
Yeah, and the OTP part, it was just kind of cool, you know, like it's a little bit of flashiness where we could have gone for an email, so we just do that as an alternative email address, but you know, getting that ping on your phone is kind of a nice touch. So we see that leverage a lot by our faculty, some by our high school and middle school students, and that's not really a thing for kids. We're helping them once they're busy, like they're not going to be able to do all this. I think it's just getting appropriate.
And you made the decision to like all of them. You're not going.
No, it comes back down to that sense like this. A lot of it is just make changes on a radius that impact students within the 6th grade. I don't know why we're picking on the 6th graders again.